there are several ways to categorize e-commerce. One of the way in which we categorize e-commerce is to look at who are the buyers and who are the sellers. This is where we use the terminology B2B, B2C, C2G, and so on. Today I want to talk to you about B2C. B2C means business to consumer. Yeah? And in other words, we are talking about online retailing, right? Where the buyers are consumers, individual consumers. Like one useful way to understand and appreciate B2C is to be able for us to compare the nature of transactions between B2C and B2G or B2B, whereby the buyer, right, in this case, are individual consumers, where purchase is done mainly on the basis of emotion and personal preferences. But if you're talking about where the buyers are businesses, then the purchase decision is based on the products that can increase the value of organizations instead of for personal or personal preferences. So to start off this topic, I would like to address this issue of consumer purchase decision process, because this is a critical concept in B2C, whereby for us to understand what are the important issues in B2C, we need to understand how the individual consumer thinks as he or she decides on what products to purchase, whether it's in a physical environment or online. Now, according to the theory, a person who purchase products which are significant in their lives, they go through 5 phases here. The first phase is what we call the need identification phase, whereby at this phase a person realizes that his life or his or her life is not complete because there are things that he doesn't possess, right? He realized that he or she faces a problem, or there is a motivation for him or her to improve on his life, right? For example, when someone realizes that he or she is not healthy and requires medication, then this is that phase of what we call need identification. If someone realizes that his day-to-day life would be much better if he or she has a different mode of transportation, so he then thinks that maybe I should get a car, maybe I should get a motorcycle or something like that, right? So the first phase is need identification. Second phase is information search. Once somebody already has the realization that something needs to be done to improve his or her life, then he or she starts searching for information about what solutions can he take in order to address this problem that he faces. Once he has gone through this information search phase, second phase, we move on to the third phase, which is the evaluation alternatives, whereby based on the solution that he or she has concluded, then he or she looks at different alternative products, different alternative solutions in order to derive a solution for his problem. Then comes the actual purchase and delivery, right? Once the person has already made the comparisons, then he will decide which would be the best option. And lastly is the post-purchase behavior, which is after he or she has already purchase the product, what happens after that, the usage, and then the learning process to embrace the new product that he or she has bought. Now, if we were to go back, we have to go back, and for each of the phases, we look at how the internet and e-commerce, right, is being used to assist the sellers and the buyers at each of the 5 phases of the consumer purchase decision process. Again, let me remind you the 5 phases, which is phase number 1 is need identification. Phase number 2 is information search. Phase number 3 is evaluate alternatives. Phase number 4 is purchase and delivery. And the last phase is post-purchase behavior. Now, when we look at need identification, for the seller, right, the seller can make use of the internet in which, for example, by using social network, by using social network, the seller as well as the buyer can actually find realization as to what are the, for example, the seller can find what are the complaints, what are the things which potential consumers are worried about, are complaining about, feel that they are shouting for a solution, for things which can make their life better. So social network such as Facebook, Twitter can provide insights as to what consumers might want in their life. At the same time, sellers can make use of profiling techniques where they have gathered information from potential consumers and from the public, and analyzing the characteristics, the behavior, the psychometrics of consumers, and then identifying from that data analysis what actually consumers need in their life, right? Another example is intermediaries, right? We've covered intermediaries in the previous chapter. Intermediaries are middlemen, right? Companies that provide information, like intermediaries and e-brokers and shopping facilitators can provide valuable information as to what consumers are looking for, right? And by using push technology, right? Using push technology, sellers can provide useful information to buyers, by sending notifications through emails and SMS, and of course, some of us might call it spam, but for the seller, this is a valuable approach to provide information to potential customers as to how they can improve their lives. And then with the same techniques, the buyers can make use of search engines, can make use of social networks, can make use of intermediaries to find more information on how to solve their problems. This is the second phase, which is information search. So there are many different ways in which customers can search for solutions and products. And with the same techniques, with the same facilities, with the same capabilities of the internet, customers can also use search engines to make evaluations as to the alternatives that is in the market. This feedback from social network applications can provide useful insights as to what products are good and what products are bad, because in social network, a lot of people who have already used certain products can give their personal evaluation as to what is good and what is not good in certain products. A simple example, if if you want to go and watch a movie, right, we can simply go to Facebook or Twitter and look at certain hashtags and certain keywords to find comments made by people as to whether the movie is worth watching or not. If you want to buy a car, you can go through the same process, right? Go through intermediaries, go to social networks, go to certain blogs that will explain about product evaluation and so on, for us to be able to judge which product would be suitable for us. And this is part of the concept. Remember, we talked about information asymmetry, whereby with the internet, information asymmetry will be lowered in that the buyer will have more information. They will come into a transaction with more information and more knowledge as to what are their choices and what they would want to buy. And then when we talk about purchase and delivery, e-commerce, normally this is a very challenging stage in e-commerce, because a lot of people who are interested to buy products, many of them are reluctant to pay online, maybe because they don't trust the online businesses, or maybe they do not have credit cards, maybe they are nervous about providing personal information through online, or many different reasons as to why people are not willing to make payments online. That is why there's a lot of merchants who provide cash on delivery alternatives, whereby customers can pay cash as the product is being delivered, right? And then also a lot of customers have online tracking systems, whereby to ease the worries of online shoppers, online consumers, there is a tracking system where the system will tell the consumer who have already paid for the products where the product is currently at. Maybe it's in the lorry, maybe it's somewhere in the warehouse, maybe it's 5 minutes away from your doorstep. So the tracking system helps in easing the tension of the online buyer. And then see the logistics system, the delivery technology is also an important aspect in e-commerce, because in e-commerce, delivery is a critical function, as opposed to a brick and mortar company, whereby most of the way in which people purchase products in physical stores is through cash and carry. Therefore, the issue of delivery doesn't come into the picture. But for most online businesses, delivery is a factor. Delivery in terms of how long does it take to deliver the product, whether the delivery cost should be borne by the supplier, or by the seller or by the buyer, in which areas that delivery is free and in which areas that you have to pay, right? What is the limit in which if you have bought a bunch of products, if the limit is more than a certain amount, then the delivery is free, but if it's below, then you have to pay. So these are a lot of things which the online sellers have to decide. And lastly, the post-purchase behavior. Many companies that do not have the do not think strategically, think long term, right? They look at a purchase as the end in itself. But for those companies that wants to maximize, to improve their revenue, they will look at a purchase as just the beginning, whereby they would want to find ways in which they can get the customers to come back and again and make them into what we call a loyal customer. Yeah, remember the definition of a loyal customer are customers that come back again and again, right? As one of the definitions of a loyal customers. Because remember, in the field of customer relationship management, right, the principle here is that it is easier for us to convince an existing shopper or existing customer to come back again than to convert a new customer. So by getting information, contact information like email, telephone numbers from the online consumer, right, we can send them notifications about future promotions, and we can have like loyalty programs whereby we can reward them with points as they purchase products. Yeah, and also we should also provide warranties. We can provide advice after they have already purchased the products. We can have a hotline, or we can send them emails as to guidelines as to how to properly use the products that they have already purchased.